Well, good evening from London. Welcome to Piers Morgan Uncensored. Today, Harry and Meghan torch what little was left of their relationship with the royal family and what little was left, frankly, of their own reputation. Old revelations with a new twist. As it turns out, we've apparently been wrong all along. Britain is a nasty, racist hellhole where only magnificent Meghan stood up to all this and the world.
You know what's funnier than a Disney princess? A real-life duchess who thinks she is a Disney princess. Harry and Meghan just pulled off the most expensive magic trick in history. They made their credibility disappear faster than your dad when the restaurant bill arrives. And speaking of disappearing acts, they took their kids to the most photographed place on Earth and then acted surprised when, wait for it, they got photographed. But here's where it gets absolutely ridiculous. And trust me, you're not ready for what Piers Morgan did to them.
This series, and they'll believe it. They'll believe the smears about Britain and our monarchy, that we're a bunch of bigoted and hateful people. They even blamed Brexit for the racism which apparently was aimed at Meghan Markle, which is just completely absurd.
Harry and Meghan, the couple who sued half of Britain for taking their photo, decided to celebrate little Lilibet's birthday at Disneyland. Now, choosing Disneyland for privacy is like choosing a strip club for marriage counseling. Technically possible, but you're definitely sending mixed signals. These two have complained more about paparazzi than a Kardashian on a slow news day. They've built an entire brand around being victims of the media. But then, they show up at the Mickey Mouse playground with more photographers than a red carpet event. It's like watching someone complain about being wet while doing cannonballs into a swimming pool.
It's about an hour-long cab ride, never seen as grandchildren. This show is packed with a kind of spurious claims and hypocrisy that have become the Sussex signature. We learned they began making videos about their heroic journey 6 months before their Netflix deal was even announced, and right at the start of a pandemic that was killing.
The best part? They blurred out their kids' faces in the photos because nothing says we value privacy like orchestrating a photo shoot and then playing peekaboo with the results. It's like posting a thirst trap on Instagram and then complaining when people slide into your DMs. You can't have your cake and blur it too. But wait until you hear what happened when someone finally called them out on their royal BS.
Bound to, if you excuse the massive book deals, the Silicon Valley startups, the preaching videos about well-being, the podcasts, the speeches, and the major network interviews with everyone from Oprah Winfrey to James Corden. But they've barely been seen or heard at all, have they? Well, on Thursday, they'll quietly and apologetically release their $100 million.
Enter Piers Morgan, a man who has less of a filter than your drunk uncle at Thanksgiving dinner. This guy looked at Harry and Meghan's Disneyland circus and said, "Hold my tea. I'm about to end these people's whole career." And boy, did he deliver. Morgan posted on social media, "Celebrities that constantly post pics of their kids to promote their parenting credentials but block their faces out like this to pretend they care about their privacy make me chuckle. We see you."
Before we even get to the main event.
When the stakes are this high, doesn't it make more sense to hear our story from us?
Oh, shut up. What do you mean the stakes are this high? Who do you think you are? Other than a latte-munching imbecile.
That tweet hit harder than your mom's slipper when you came home past curfew. It was so accurate, it should have come with a GPS location. Morgan basically called them out for playing both sides of the fence, wanting the attention but crying about invasion of privacy. It's like being a vegetarian who works at a steakhouse. The man didn't even need to mention their names. Everyone knew exactly who he was talking about. It was like when your teacher said, "Some people in this class," and the whole room turned to look at you. Except this time, the whole world was looking at Harry and Meghan. But their response to getting roasted? Well, that's where things get even more entertaining.
On the back of your head. This gruesome twosome only survived by cashing in on what's left of their royal status now. I said it before, I'll say it again tonight. King Charles should strip them of all their remaining titles and cast them out from any connection to the royal family. How could any of them trust them as far as I could throw them? Because without it, they're just whining millennial windbags with a...
So, how did our royal rebels respond to being called out? Did they laugh it off? Did they own up to their contradiction? Ha! You must not know Harry and Meghan very well. These two threaten lawsuits more often than teenagers threaten to run away from home. Word on the street is they're considering legal action against Piers Morgan, again. Because apparently, when you can't win an argument, you just try to lawyer your way out of it. It's like losing at Monopoly and then trying to sue Hasbro.
Favourite little niece Ashley. Meghan also sees she got no advice on royal protocol, forcing her to learn how to be a princess all on her own.
Joining this family, I knew that there was a protocol for how things were done. There's no class in some person who goes sit like this.
This is the same couple who've sued more people than a personal injury lawyer on commission. They've turned legal threats into an art form. At this point, their lawyer probably has them on speed dial and a reserved parking spot at the courthouse. But here's the thing about trying to silence Piers Morgan. It's like trying to make a Kardashian irrelevant. Good luck with that. The man survived getting kicked off morning television for refusing to apologize to Meghan. He's basically the honey badger of British journalism. He just doesn't care. However, the real fireworks were happening behind palace doors, and what Prince William allegedly said will make you question everything.
The press show her wearing pretty much every colour in the rainbow. The show opens with the claim that the royal family declined to comment on the series. That's another lie. The palace says it received one email from an unknown company and attempts to verify it with flat.
Now, while Harry and Meghan were busy playing victim in California, Prince William was reportedly having his own meltdown back in London. And when the future King of England loses his cool, you know things are about to get real. According to palace insiders, and these people love to gossip more than your neighborhood WhatsApp group, William has finally had enough. He's apparently been telling people that Meghan never wanted to be part of the family, she wanted to use the family. This is like finding out your ex was only dating you for your Netflix password. William supposedly warned Harry before the wedding, but love is blind, and apparently, so is Harry. The man was so smitten, he couldn't see red flags if they were being waved by the Queen's Guard. The palace sources say William believes everything. From the whirlwind romance to the Oprah interview to the Netflix series was all part of Meghan's master plan. It's like discovering your friend's entire personality was just a long con to borrow your car. But William's frustration isn't just about family drama. There's something much bigger at stake here, and it involves the future of the monarchy itself. Meanwhile, King Charles is watching all this unfold like a parent whose grown kids are fighting at Thanksgiving dinner, except these kids have global platforms and their fights make international headlines. The king is reportedly deeply embarrassed by the Disneyland spectacle. And when you embarrass a man who has to wave at crowds for a living and pretend to be interested in ribbon-cutting ceremonies, you've really crossed a line. What really got to Charles was the timing. They pulled this PR stunt right before major royal events, like they were trying to steal thunder from the actual working royals. It's like showing up to someone's wedding in a white dress and then acting confused when people are upset. But here's the kicker. They used Lilibet's name, which honors the late Queen Elizabeth, for what Charles sees as a cheap publicity grab. That's like using your grandmother's funeral program as a coaster. Some things are just sacred. Sources say Charles called their behavior infantile and self-serving. When the King of England calls you childish, you might want to do some self-reflection. But don't worry, it gets worse. Let's talk about the real victims here, Archie and Lilibet. These kids are being used as props more than a theater department on a tight budget. Every time Harry and Meghan need good PR, out come the children for a carefully orchestrated, candid moment. It's like watching parents use their kids as human shields in divorce court. Look how good we are with children. Don't you want to like us now? But then they blur out the kids' faces because they care about privacy. The logic here is more twisted than a pretzel factory explosion. You can't parade your children for sympathy points and then claim you're protecting them. That's like putting your kids in a commercial and then complaining when people recognize them at the grocery store. And poor Lilibet, her birthday celebration became an international incident. Most kids get a cake and some presents. She got a full-blown media circus with a side of legal threats. That's one way to make birthdays memorable. But the public reaction to all this royal ridiculousness was absolutely savage, and social media had no mercy. When the Disneyland photos dropped, social media turned into a roast session that would make Comedy Central jealous. People were not having it, and they let Harry and Meghan know exactly what they thought. Twitter users were asking the real questions. If you want privacy, why go to the most crowded place on earth? It's like complaining about noise while sitting next to the speakers at a concert. Reddit threads were popping off with people pointing out every contradiction. They sued for privacy but hired photographers. They want to be left alone but keep doing interviews. They hate the media but have a Netflix deal. The internet had receipts, and they were checking them twice. Instagram comments were even more brutal. People were comparing them to the Kardashians, and that wasn't meant as a compliment. When you're getting roasted by the same people who follow influencer drama, you know you've hit rock bottom. Even the usually sympathetic fans were struggling to defend this one. It's like trying to explain why your friend got arrested for the 5th time this year. Eventually, you run out of excuses. But while the internet was having a field day, Meghan's business ventures were having a very different kind of day. Speaking of disasters, let's talk about Meghan's podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder. The title sounds impressive until you realize the only thing she successfully founded is a collection of legal disputes. The podcast is reportedly getting fewer listeners than an amateur radio show in the middle of nowhere. It's performing so poorly that even Spotify algorithms have given up on it. When artificial intelligence thinks your content is boring, you might want to reconsider your career choices. Industry insiders say the engagement numbers are abysmal. That's corporate speak for nobody cares. It's like throwing a party and having more pizza than people show up. Embarrassing doesn't even begin to cover it. The timing of the Disneyland trip wasn't coincidental. They were trying to drum up interest in Meghan's failing brand. It's like when restaurants put "as seen on television" on their windows after appearing on Kitchen Nightmares. Technically true, but missing some important context. Her lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard, sounds fancy until you realize it's basically Instagram with delusions of grandeur. She's trying to be the next Gwyneth Paltrow, but instead of selling overpriced candles, she's selling overpriced drama. But here's where the story takes an even more interesting turn, because the palace has apparently had enough. Back in Buckingham Palace, the grown-ups are finally ready to take action. King Charles and Prince William have reportedly been discussing what legal mechanisms exist to distance the monarchy from Harry and Meghan's constant drama. They're considering stripping the Sussex children of their HRH status. That's like taking away someone's membership to a club they keep trashing in public. At some point, you have to cut your losses. Palace sources say Charles believes Harry and Meghan are increasingly divorced from reality. When the King of England thinks you're out of touch with reality, that's saying something. This is a man who talks to plants and thinks that's normal. The royal family has tried the quiet approach, the diplomatic approach, and the let's just ignore them and hope they go away approach. None of it worked. Now they're considering the enough is enough approach, and honestly, it's about time. William is supposedly pushing hardest for action. The future king is tired of watching his brother and sister-in-law use their royal connections while simultaneously trashing the institution. It's like letting someone crash at your place while they post bad reviews about your house online. But the most savage part of this whole saga is how it exposes the truth about Harry and Meghan's entire narrative. Here's what's really happening. Harry and Meghan want to be celebrities, not royals. They want the fame, the platform, and the financial opportunities that come with royal status, but they don't want the responsibility, the protocol, or the criticism that comes with it. It's like wanting to be a doctor, but only for the money and respect, while refusing to go to medical school or actually help sick people. You can't cherry-pick the benefits while ignoring the obligations. Their entire brand is built on being victims of the royal family, but they keep using their royal titles and connections to make money. It's the most expensive case of having your cake and eating it too in modern history. They've turned victimhood into a business model. Every interview, every documentary, every podcast episode is about how badly they were treated. But somehow, they keep going back to that well for content. It's like complaining about your ex while still using their Netflix password. The Disneyland incident perfectly encapsulates their entire approach: create a PR opportunity, control the narrative, profit from the attention, and then claim victim status when people call out the contradiction. It's a formula that's worked for years, but the public is finally catching on. And Piers Morgan's simple tweet exposed it all. Sometimes the truth doesn't need fancy packaging or legal documents. Sometimes it just needs someone brave enough to point out that the emperor has no clothes. So, where does this leave our royal rebels? Well, they're reportedly threatening to sue Piers Morgan, which is like bringing a water gun to a nuclear weapon fight. The man has survived worse storms and come out laughing. Their brand is crumbling faster than a sandcastle at high tide. Their business ventures are failing, their public support is evaporating, and even their most loyal fans are starting to ask uncomfortable questions. Meanwhile, the royal family is finally ready to play hardball. They've been patient, diplomatic, and understanding for years. But patience has its limits, and those limits have been reached, exceeded, and lapped several times over. King Charles and Prince William are done playing games. They're ready to use every legal and institutional tool at their disposal to protect the monarchy from further damage. When you've pushed the royal family to the point where they're considering stripping titles, you've really messed up. The irony is delicious. Harry and Meghan spent years complaining about how the royal family treated them, but their behavior since leaving has proven that maybe, just maybe, the family had good reasons for their concerns. But let's be honest, this whole saga has provided more entertainment value than most Netflix series. Watching Harry and Meghan try to have it both ways has been like watching someone try to eat soup with a fork. Technically possible, but messy and ultimately pointless? They've given us royal drama, legal threats, failed business ventures, and now the Disneyland debacle. It's like a soap opera written by someone who's never actually watched a soap opera but has heard they're supposed to be dramatic. The best part is that they seem genuinely surprised when people call out their contradictions. It's like being shocked that water is wet or that traffic jams are inconvenient. Some things are just obvious to everyone except the people involved. And through it all, Piers Morgan sits back with his tea, occasionally dropping truth bombs that explode their carefully crafted narratives. He's like that friend who asks the awkward questions everyone else is thinking, but too polite to say out loud. So what's the moral of this royal comedy? Maybe it's that you can't build a brand on victimhood while simultaneously being the aggressor. Maybe it's that privacy and publicity don't mix well. Or maybe it's just that some people will do anything for attention, even if it means sacrificing their dignity in the process. Whatever the lesson is, one thing's for sure. Harry and Meghan have provided enough material for comedians, commentators, and critics to last for years. And with their track record, they're probably not done yet. The royal comedy continues, and we all have front row seats to the most expensive circus in modern history. Pass the popcorn.